Hi, this is Majin, and it's time for some reviews. We got Rogues Rebellion, Justice League, Injustice, X-Men, Nova, X-Men again, Spider-Man, the Inhumanity crossover, and Thor. Okay, let's take a look at what we got today. Now, I don't really want to spend too much time with the Rogues Rebellion, but I will say this. Finally, the Rogues have left Gotham, and it's about freaking time. It only took them 4 issues to do it. The art for me, it's kind of like a hit and miss thing. In that, like for an example, for the most part, everybody looks average. You know, it's not like great art, pretty weak backgrounds, but I would have let it pass being just a tie-in. But it's Clayface. There's times where I go, Clayface is like one of the most. This is probably one of the most horrible renditions of Clayface that I've ever seen in a long time. And then there's times I go, you know what? This Clayface is actually kind of good. But it looks like it's a mini Clayface versus something that's really big and hulking and kind of like this. And so I was really torn with that. Now, if anything, also it kind of this issue really shows the bond between the rogues, even though I think for the most part everybody who's a Flash reader knows that of the bond that they have. But if anything, it's just starting to, or I should say, continuing to push that out there for the people who are picking this up who maybe didn't buy Flash but are buying it because it's a tie-in. If anything, the story really isn't going anywhere that's interesting for the most part, which is a shame because basically they're going from one Gotham to another version of Gotham, and to me it's like you're not really. It's I don't think they're really showing a lot of creativity. I think part of it's honest to be blunt, it's really lazy writing, and it's a real disappointment. I mean, seriously, 4 issues to get out of Gotham, please. Very. I would call this the biggest disappointment, but I'm telling you, the Superman Wonder Woman dating sim comic, that was the bigger disappointment. Okay, Justice League of America. Now notice this Clayface looks a heck of a lot better than that other one. But anyways, I know I've been dogging the Justice League. But this, oddly enough, is probably one of the best Forever Evil tie-ins. Meaning they're actually doing something. They don't tease you and then lead you on this journey of disappointment. Granted, it's only primarily dealing with 2 characters, Martian Manhunter and Stargirl, but we actually learned a lot more about what's going on in this world. And for that, I'm really appreciative of that. And you know what? Even though I think Stargirl is probably one of the weakest excuses of a superhero ever created, and a poor insult to the original version of Supergirl that Jeff Johns did in the last, the JSA. But I will say this, they're at least giving her a certain degree of character, they're giving her motivations, they're doing things that question, her role as a hero. And that being said, I still hate her. Totally hate her. She's somebody who, while she's young, she can't see the big picture, but because she's young, you kind of understand that, but yet you're a superhero, so you don't get that pass. It's a really conflicting thing of emotions that's going on here. And it's basically, like Martian Manhunter was wanting to say, hey, we need to save the superheroes. He knows what's going on. They're finally explaining the situation, that the heroes are trapped within Firestorm. They know Firestorm is being moved. They're doing things like that that's actually pushing the story forward. And I really, really appreciate that they're doing something like that. And it's sad that this is the shining example of how to do a crossover. If DC had more of these, I would be happier. Injustice, year 2, number 1. I'll word it this way. The art was decent. It's nothing great, but it's good. It has its moments. They do a really nice Black Canary, for an example, and they do a really nice Ollie, and all that part's great. And I thought this was a great setup. They're saying, okay, maybe you didn't really read the first part, but you played the video game, you know the basic premise. So they jump you right into the premise, and they move you forward, and they move you forward in such a way that you understand. You hear the battle lines, and then they throw you a little Easter egg, not really Easter egg, not Easter egg, but a little thing of going, this is what's coming. And I'm telling you, when I was reading it, I was like, okay, okay. But it wasn't until the end of this book that I said, holy crap, this was freaking awesome. And this would have been, this actually was one of the titles I was thinking of as being Book of the Week, because that ending was just so unexpected. But it didn't have that special element that Superior Spider-Man had, and that's the only reason why it didn't make it. But this was actually a really good read, and I'm gonna give props where props are due. DC has, Marvel continually fails with their Elseworlds or their futuristic storyline. They I think they don't. Marvel doesn't like to take chances sometimes, or if they do take chances, it's very predictable along the route that they take. But DC has done a fantastic job with Injustice as a whole, and I guess it shows you what you can accomplish if you really are willing to take risks, throw caution to the wind, and just try to tell a really dark, compelling story about what would happen if Superman did become, I'll just say, corrupt, but in his corrupt, he really has good intentions. And this was a really, really good read. I'm definitely gonna get this. I'm definitely adding Injustice to my pull list. Okay, Uncanny X-Men number 16. This is pretty much a Magneto issue, and it's not only just that they're showing you what's going on with the on the island of Madripoor and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Now this, I'm not sure how this is going to really work, because this island is being used for another thing in the Avengers world. Because you remember the Avengers world, this island, I believe, is turning into it's on a dragon head or something like that. So I don't know how all that's going to work out. But it's a fairly decent read. This is the issue that you need if you're going to get the Magneto miniseries, because this is basically this is springboarding that storyline. Overall, I mean, it's a decent read. I think Bendis he played it a little safe for the most part. The ending was pretty good, though. I'll give him that much. But it wasn't like something that made me go, oh, wow, this was a good issue. But it's definitely a building type issue. It's building, this is the situation, these are the players. And he threw some nice little, I don't want to say curves, but he threw some interesting plot points. So overall, I thought this was a decent read. Okay, Nova. Nova, to me, is like that little engine that's trying very hard to climb up the incredibly steep hill, and it's struggling. Now, I'm not even sure what the real direction is for this title. We're 12 issues in. Unfortunately, it got hampered by the Infinity crossovers that they had to throw in there. But, I need more. I need more for the story. I mean, granted, they're showing him as an inexperienced superhero. He's making some mistakes, and I can appreciate that, because these mistakes are leading to other types of stories. So all of that's good. But, he doesn't really have a rogues gallery yet. I mean, this guy here is probably going to be one, because he's like a hunter type thing, where he's going around and he hunts and he collects various artifacts of, like armor, swords, helmets, things like that. And he has a Nova helmet, but he realizes taking this helmet from this kid, it was worthless. So he gives it back to him. So it's kind of insulting. So that, eventually these two are going to meet again. But that being said, I'm hopeful for the next issues coming up, because Beta Ray Bill is coming. And I think that's going to hopefully pick things up a little bit. And I'm not holding my breath for it, but I'm hopeful. See, the sad thing is I really want this book to succeed. But, I can't really jump fully behind it. Because what it is, it's just kind of there. It's in the background. It's something it's not really challenging. It's not really completely interesting. It needs to be more Peter Parker-ish, but it's failing at that. I want to see some action. I want to see some bigger villains coming up. I want to see by now we should have a significant rogues gallery starting to form, and we really don't have anything that would be considered really significant. Hopefully things will change, and we'll see. All new X-Men number 21. There is a very key thing about this book, and that is they reveal that the world knows about what happened in Avengers Arena in here. So that means we're definitely going to have a fallout at some kind with the surviving heroes. Overall, the artwork for me, it kind of goes from like old baddish to it's okay, nothing great. If anything, this is just kind of like this filler issue where they're just trying to get you to the trial of Jean Grey, because I believe that's the next. Yeah, that's the next storyline, the trial of Jean Grey. And they're also saying, well, you can't really kill any of these characters because you're going to create that time paradox. And I'm like, really? Did you really have to spend more time explaining that? Overall, is it good? It's the same thing as Uncanny. It's just, this issue, I mean, as a whole, the All New X-Men has really been a solid read. But the last couple issues, I've got to say, Bendis, maybe he's overworked, or maybe he's just trying to coast it a little bit until the trial, and hopefully with the trial of Jean Grey, things are going to really pick up. But this issue, I have to admit, wasn't the strongest in his run so far. But, you can't hit a home run every time. Alright, Inhumanity Superior Spider-Man number 1. Okay, is this an Inhumanity crossover? Yes, because it's the fallout of what happened. Okay, is this an interesting read? Well, it's that feel-good type of storyline because it's Superior Spider-Man. He's helping firemen save people. So, how can you really come down on this type of book? It's really showing Spidey Ock in a new light. We all know he's an asshole, but here he is. He's helping the firemen. He's rescuing people. He's doing nice things. He's telling his minions that these people, listen to the firemen. They're in charge, type thing. And he even says that they're in charge of him too. He has to follow their orders. So all that's that feel good thing. He even does something good for somebody who really should have gone to jail. But I'm like, really? Did you really have to make this book? Did you really need to make us spend $4 for this? I don't think so. I don't think that had to happen. I don't freaking care about the fallout of anything. I mean, now granted, they're saying that, well, geez, I'll be more than happy to help out because I get to steal tech from the Inhumans. But we already know he's doing that type of crap. And I'm like, really? It's like this was totally an unnecessary book. Now, and that's my dilemma. Because on one hand, I'm going completely unnecessary. But on the other hand, I'm going, God, man, this was actually a well-written story. So I'm like, ugh, whatever. That's what I say, whatever. I could have lived without it. Okay. The Accursed. Conclusion. Thor, God of Thunder, number 17. Now, there's moments in this issue here where I'm going, okay, it's good. Nothing great, but it's good. Then we get the hammer that gets teleported to Earth. And I was like, oh man, where have I seen that before? And I was looking forward to what was going to happen. And when it happened, it was a letdown because his head didn't get knocked off. Then there's some really nice dialogue that is spattered throughout this whole thing. Nice interaction between the dwarf and the troll. And there's some really strong moments throughout this entire issue. There's some really good fight scenes. And overall, I was really pleased. But it wasn't until the ending where I went, wow. And then I never expected that to happen. I should have expected it, but I didn't. Because I was too wrapped up in I can't wait to see death and destruction and some serious fighting. Then, after I saw that part of the ending, I got to the very end, and I said, wow, this is going to be freaking amazing. What is to come is going to be freaking amazing. And I can't wait. And this was another issue that I was also really strongly debating. Book of the week. Very good moments in this thing. Aaron did a fantastic run, I thought, with the storyline, The Accursed. It wasn't as strong as the God Killer, God Bomb storyline, but as a whole, it was really good. And if anything, it's really setting up what's to come, and that's what I really want. I want to be entertained, and then give me something to look forward to. And I'm telling you, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's to come, because Thor and his League of Realm Legendary people, they're all patting themselves on the back, drinking, going, aha, if there is trouble, we'll just come and teach them a lesson. But they're in for some serious trouble, and I can't wait. I really seriously am looking forward to this. And it also explains the upcoming Iron Man storyline. So overall, I really enjoyed it. Definitely, if you have not been buying this, tradable. And I guess I have to ask the question, if you have not been buying it, why aren't you buying it? Buy freaking Thor, God of Thunder, number 18. This is the best Thor I have seen in years. And there's so many good moments. So many. Okay, let's get you some codes. We'll get you the Spider-Man one. Don't forget, Facebook link right there. I do the Crunchyroll anime reviews. This season, phenomenal. Phenomenal start. There is some seriously good ass-kicking anime. Not Attack on Titan awesome, but there's some seriously good stuff. So I would highly recommend, if you join the Facebook, every once in a while you'll see me throw out a 48-hour pass. You can get that for free and do some sampling. And we'll get you one more. Now, I'll have more reviews later, like later this week. There's just too many books this week. And I'll probably read all the independent books, the image books and stuff separately, and I'll review all of those separately. So anyways, I'll have more reviews later. Let me know what you guys thought of your books. And I got this from Loot Crate. Not going to get Loot Crate anymore. It's been canceled. Anyways, until next time.